Let me start by saying that according to Shrimp, in the article The Effects of Sleep Deprivation on Pain Perception in Healthy Subjects, meta-analysis, it is stated that sleep deprivation affects self-reported pain as well as pain threshold. Once there was a woman who thought that she could get the most out of her time by sleeping 1 hour every night. She went about this for weeks on end, thinking that there weren't any significant effects that would alter her daily life. One morning, she went to make breakfast. She heated up the griddle and got food ready to make a nice meal. The woman lost her balance for a moment, as if she was going to faint. Quickly, she reached out and grabbed the counter in front of her in order to hold herself up. After a few seconds to reorient herself with the world, she began to hear something, a sizzling noise, and looked down to realize she was propped up on the grill. Her pain response was delayed by her sleep deprivation, and so she managed to cook herself. Well done. Obviously, it's not the best use of time to get less than the required amount of sleep at night when you are putting yourself at risk. You see this dream catcher? This represents you, because only you can catch up to your dreams by getting enough sleep. We all have nights where the deadlines for assignments are approaching, and not enough work has been put in to feel comfortable about going to sleep at a reasonable time. We all know the pain of forcing our eyes open for the whole day that follows, and wishing we could just sleep, or falling asleep at a bad time. However, we are here to provide reasoning behind why pushing your limits is not something anybody should allow in their regimen. Doherty stated in the article, Scientific Facts About Sleep, that the Center of Disease Control and Prevention estimates up to 70 million Americans have a sleep or wakefulness disorder. With that said, there are many people that fall into the same category, meaning we all have a massive problem that needs to be addressed. As a group, we have gained credibility through extensive research and because we have all experienced the detrimental effects of sleep deprivation. We have come through a plethora of data to offer you the best concoction of good, solid data to help solidify people's appreciation for good sleep. College students, on average, don't get enough sleep per night. You should all obtain a minimum of 7 hours of sleep each night, but 9 hours would be best for everyone's healthiest results. Today we shall be talking about why proper sleep is of such a high importance, what makes healthy sleep levels necessary, and what might occur if the right amount of sleep is not obtained.
Sleep is a big factor in many facets of our everyday life, and a lack of sleep can lead to a number of different issues, one of which would be decreased cognitive function. As said by Dr. Dings in the article, The Extraordinary Importance of Sleep, sleep is critical for waking cognition. That is, for the ability to think clearly, to be vigilant and alert, and to sustain attention. Performance begins to degrade about 16 hours after the end of sleep. When tired, one's reaction times are also greatly slowed. This applies to both reactions to visual and physical stimuli, as well as more focused individual tasks. Reaction times in tired individuals rival those of drunk individuals, and is actually sometimes even worse. A lack of sleep inhibits you from making split-second decisions as well, which makes things like driving and other dangerous activities exponentially more dangerous. One of the most profound impacts that sleep has on an individual would be their mood. As stated by Susan Worley in her article, The Extraordinary Importance of Sleep, inadequate sleep can also take a toll on psychological well-being, significantly affecting our emotional and psychosocial interpretation of events and exacerbating our stress levels. In studies by Dr. Dings, it has been found that individuals lacking in sleep rated low stress situations as high stress because of their lack of sleep. Lastly, a lack of sleep will cause EDS, or excessive daytime sleepiness. This is when you feel tired during the day after a night where you didn't get enough sleep. During this time, you get all of the different symptoms of sleep deprivation, and they can accumulate over consistent lack of sleep. Daytime sleepiness is actually considered a mood disorder and can perpetuate itself, making it more difficult to get sleep in the future. And it is also linked to depression, poor academic performance, weakened memory retention, obesity, and even heart failure. Sleep disorders are also a large problem. There are numerous different types which affect all different kinds of people. One of the most common and devastating sleep disorders would be insomnia. Insomnia is described as difficulty achieving or maintaining sleep in quantities that cause excessive daytime sleepiness. Insomnia is on a spectrum, and while one person may exhibit symptoms of insomnia, that does not necessarily make them an insomniac. While 20 to 30% of the general population has poor sleep, another 8 to 10% of the population suffers from chronic insomnia. Restless leg syndrome is also another relatively common sleep disorder. Not as widespread as insomnia, it is still quite common. Restless leg syndrome results in paralysis of the leg while in a position of rest and results in the urge to move and get excited. This can be worsened by a continual lack of sleep, and cases vary in intensity and length, and experts don't really know what's going on with it. Another major sleep disorder is sleep-disordered breathing. The condition results in frequent stoppages of breathing throughout the night and causes you to snore and get less effective sleep. The most common sleep-disordered breathing condition would be sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is most prevalent among middle-aged and older individuals, though it is not completely unheard of in younger people. In tests, 9% of middle-aged women and 24% of middle-aged men were found to have some form of sleep apnea. Now that we have talked about the problems that arise with lack of sleep, let's talk about what solutions you can use to improve your overall sleep health.
So there are a myriad of ways to help one's sleep-wake cycle. The 4 ways that I will be discussing are the following: sleeping for at least 7 to 9 hours, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, and avoiding usage of stimulants and electronics right before bed. It's required for adults to set aside at least 7 to 9 hours per day in order to function properly. Frequent sleep disturbances and daytime sleepiness are the most telling signs of poor sleep hygiene. As stated in the journal, Sleep Deprivation, Global Prevalence, Dangers, and Impacts on Cognitive Performance. In addition, if you're taking too long to fall asleep, you should consider evaluating your sleep routine and revising your bedtime habits. Just a few simple changes can make a difference between a good night's sleep and a night spent tossing and turning. Adequate sleep is a biological necessity for normal functioning. According to Renessing in his article called Awareness of Effects of Sleep Deprivation Among College Students, lack of sleep causes many significant changes in the body and increases your risk for serious health concerns such as obesity, disease, and even early death. When you fall asleep for an average of 8 hours, your brain signals your body to release hormones and compounds that help decrease risk for harmful health conditions. But you can also manage your hunger levels, maintain your immune system, and retain your memory. Make an effort to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day of the week, including the weekends. Doing this establishes a regular sleep-wake cycle. It may also help you adopt the habit of doing the same things each night right before bed, such as taking a warm bath or maybe even reading. The most effective and perhaps most difficult thing to do is to have to set up an exact time to go to bed each night, then plan to wake up at the same time each day as well. So if you decide that 10 p.m. is your desired bedtime, you should try to go to bed at that same time every night. Avoiding stimulants right before you sleep can help one's sleep schedule as well. Stimulants are substances that raises levels of physiological or nervous activity in the body. Caffeine, chocolate, and nicotine can keep you awake past your bedtime. Alcohol may make you feel sleepy initially, but its effect eventually may disrupt your rest later in the night. Stay away from stimulants at least 4 hours before sleep. Our cell phones, tablets, computers, and other electronic gadgets have become such a huge part of our daily lives that it's often hard to put them down, even before bedtime. Keeping your phone on your nightstand may not seem like a big deal, but technology affects your sleep in more ways than you're surfing the web, playing a video game, or even using your phone as an alarm clock in the late evening, you're probably keeping yourself from a restful night. The blue light emitted by screens on cell phones, computers, tablets, and televisions restrain the production of melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle. Reducing melatonin makes it harder for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. Most Americans admit to using electronics a few nights a week within an hour before bedtime. As stated in the journal, Effective Mobile Phone Usage Before Sleep. But to make sure technology isn't harming your sleep schedule, give yourself at least 30 minutes of gadget-free transition time before falling asleep. Since I've talked to you about how to fix and maintain your sleep schedule, I'll let Evan talk to you guys about the benefits and effects of getting sufficient sleep.
So getting enough quality sleep is a key factor in a healthy lifestyle, and according to this chart, we should all be getting about 7 to 9 hours per night. So as you can see from this comparison picture, the visual difference from getting a good night's sleep and less sleep than you should have. So getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep will help with your longevity. So according to Dr. Daniel Kripke, those who sleep for 7 to 9 hours per night are at a decreased risk of death from all causes. So not only will you be at a decreased risk of death from health issues such as sleep deprivation or daytime sleepiness, you'll also be at a decreased risk of other causes of death such as a car accident or any other motor vehicle accident. So in order to improve your longevity, you must have a regular sleep schedule and create an optimal environment for sleep by making your bedroom cool, dark, and uncluttered. So you'll begin to see how much better you feel every day, and you'll be able to enjoy more days of life. So sleeping for 7 to 9 hours also helps to improve your memory. So studies show that those who sleep for 7 to 9 hours per night have seen an improvement in their memory. A clear, alert brain allows us to focus, learn, and remember information and to be creative. On the other hand, when we're sleepy, we make more mistakes and are less productive in school and in the workplace. Sleep actually triggers changes in the brain that solidify memories, strengthening connections between brain cells and transferring information from one brain region to another. Now, I will show you all a video where James E. Gangswich will explain what happens if you don't get enough sleep.
When we don't get enough sleep, it can cause a number of negative health outcomes. In terms of our emotions, not getting enough sleep has been shown to be a risk factor for depression. In terms of intellectually, when we're deprived of sleep, it makes it harder for us to focus and concentrate. It can be a risk factor for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or exacerbate the problem in someone who has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And physically, if we're not getting enough sleep, it can result in insulin resistance, which is a risk factor for diabetes. It will raise our blood pressure. When we sleep, our blood pressure dips. So if we're not sleeping as much, then it's going to raise our average 24-hour blood pressure, which creates extra pressure on our cardiovascular system, which over time can lead to hypertrophic remodeling and reset the entire cardiovascular system to work at a higher level and lead to hypertension. It's also been shown to increase levels of cholesterol, so it really does pay off to spend that extra time in bed getting adequate sleep.
Now that you've learned the benefits of getting adequate sleep and the consequences of not getting enough sleep, it is important for you to take action. Sleep habits can make a big difference in your quality life. Having a healthy sleep is referred as having a good sleep hygiene. As you learn from my group about why proper sleep is such of a high importance and what makes healthy sleep levels necessary, you know that sleeping disorders actually exist. and can harm you in various ways. According to Healthline.com, the long term of sleep deprivation is real and says that it drains your mental abilities and puts your physical health at risk. Science has linked poor slumber with all kinds of health problems, from weight gain to weakened immune system. Without enough sleep, your brain and body systems won't function as normally. Try to keep following some sleep practices that I will give you on a consistent basis. Stick to a sleep schedule. Make sure to have a sleep schedule and stick to the same bedtime and wake up time even on the weekends. This helps to regulate your body's clock and could help you to fall and stay asleep during the night. Avoid alcohol, cigarettes, and heavy meals in the evening. Alcohol, cigarettes, and caffeine can disrupt sleep. Eating big or spicy meals can cause discomfort from indigestion that can make it hard for you to sleep. If you can, avoid eating heavy meals from 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. If you're still hungry, maybe a light snack before, like 45 minutes before bedtime. Evaluate your room. Design your sleep environment to establish the conditions you need to sleep. Your room should be about 60 to 67 degrees. Your bedroom should also be free of any noise that can disturb your sleep. Finally, your room should be free of any light. Consider using blackout curtains. Sleep on a comfortable mattress and pillows. Make sure your mattress is comfortable and supportive. Have comfortable pillows and make your room attractive and inviting for sleep, but also free of allergens that might affect you. Now that I've given you the steps of how to have a healthy sleep, I will leave you with this. A person's ability to make decisions, remembering things, or even paying attention all depend on the amount of sleep we get. Getting enough sleep is one of our necessities in life. Now remember, keep calm and get good sleep.